marijuana dispensary has had a strike since May. The United Food and Commercial Workers, UFCW 655, on strike against Shangri-La Marijuana Dispensary in Columbia, Missouri.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Last Week in Southern Labor, that's a segment that we did for a long time with the support of Jonah Furman, who did a newsletter rounding up everything that happened in labor across the country in one newsletter. It was a very ambitious project, and he was very good at it. It was called Who Gets the Bird? And we compiled the information from the South out of that newsletter and talked about it here with his permission and cooperation. But he is now International Comms Director for the UAW, so he's got bigger fish to fry than helping us on our radio program, but we're very happy for him. And so we've started trying to duplicate that effort, and today is going to be one of our first cracks at it. And so in the last week, there have been, and one of the reasons that we think this segment is so important is that, you know, the stuff, there's stuff happening all across the South all the time, right? Workers are moving all the time. They're always filing for union elections. They are winning grievances. They're winning back pay for their members. They are getting their members' jobs back after they've been unjustly fired. And so we want to highlight a little bit of that to kind of bring that to light, because not enough people know about it. And so the BCTGM International Union, the Bakers, Confectionery, Tobacco, and Grain Millers Union, is organizing at Miller Coors in Elkton, Virginia, filing on July the 20th to represent 353 full and part-time hourly employees in blending and brewing and packaging in the warehouse. On the 21st, the United Association of Plumbers and Pipe Fitters filed to represent 76 employees at Amtech Controls Southeast in Pineville, North Carolina. And included in that bargaining unit are all full-time and regular part-time production and maintenance employees, including welders, fitters, painters, blasters, material handlers, machinists, crane operators, quality control technicians, and testers, helpers employed by the employer at its location in Pineville. The Communication Workers of America filed to represent 46 employees at Georgia Windstream LLC in Dalton, Georgia on July the 24th. In Orlando, Florida, the United Electrical, CWA's Industrial Union Division filed to represent 25 workers at GE Appliances Factory Service Business of Hare U.S. Appliance Solutions on July the 24th. Ostensibly, we share the District of Columbia with the country, so up next week out of D.C., the SEIU, Service Employees International Union Local 500, filed on July the 26th to represent 19 workers at GW Museum and the Textile Museum. The International Union of Painters and Allied Trades District Council 51, Local Union 963, filed on July the 26th to represent 13 full-time and regular part-time glazers, foremen, and field caulkers at Fredericksburg Glass and Mirror in Fredericksburg, Virginia. On July the 27th, the BCTGM International Union filed to represent 16 full-time and part-time hourly employees at Flower Garden Bakery in Richmond, Virginia. And finally, in a small election, the United Association of Journeymen and Apprentices of the Plumbing and Pipe Fitting Industry of the United States, Local Union 669, Road Sprinkler Fitters, filed on July the 27th to represent 5 workers at E-Fire Southern Incorporated in Gulfport, Mississippi. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
All right, now turning to the strike map per the AFL-CIO, the BCTGM 390G has been on strike since June 4th against International Flavors and Fragrances in Memphis, Tennessee. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW 1464, are on strike against Wabtec since October of last year in Kansas City, Missouri. The United Food and Commercial Workers, UFCW 655, on strike against Shangri-La Marijuana Dispensary since May in Columbia, Missouri. Interesting that the marijuana dispensary has had a strike since May. In Nashville, Tennessee, Coffee Workers of the South, UFCW 1995, have been on strike against Three Brothers Coffee since June 13th. Of course, outside the South, there are strikes happening with grad students at the University of Michigan, as well as hotel workers in Los Angeles, among other places. And earlier this month, outside the AFL-CIO, Starbucks Workers United struck quite a few Starbucks locations across the South, from Kentucky to Texas. And shout out to the Union of Southern Service Workers, which is part of the SEIU Fight for 15 movement, which struck a Waffle House in Columbia, South Carolina for 3 days on July 8th through 10th over pay, health and safety, staffing, into mandatory meal deduction policy, and scheduling. All of the strike info was provided by the Cornell ILR School Labor Action Tracker.
Let us know if there's anything that we missed, and we'll be happy to include it in next week's update. And feel free to send us any tips throughout the week as they come in.
Absolutely.
We want to, of course, the goal is for this to be as exhaustive of a list as possible, but, we're only two folks, and there's only so much that we can see on our own. So feel free to shoot us a tip if you see anything that you think would be worth including in Last Week in Southern Labor. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.